Hey guys, it's Anthony, the MMA and political analyst. It's been a long time since I made an MMA video, huh? Well, this is your lucky day because we're going to talk about MMA. We're going to talk about this recent flare-up with Jon Jones. Now, I already made a Jon Jones video, but we're going to make another one because this guy just can't stay out the media's crosshairs, man. And, I'm actually being unfair by saying the media because it seems like the media are actually jumping to defend the guy. It's seemingly a lot of fans who I'm getting tired of MMA fans, man. I'm telling you right now. I'm getting tired of MMA fans. But we'll get into that later. But basically, Dana White came out yesterday and said that Jon Jones is more or less kind of refusing to fight Alexander Gustafsson again. And if we remember, in 2013, Jones and Gustafsson had their first fight, and it was the closest fight Jon Jones has ever been in. And Alexander Gustafsson took Jon Jones to the limit and almost beat him, but just barely came up short. And some people actually think that Alexander Gustafsson won that fight. I'm not one of those people. I think that Jon Jones won the fight barely, but he did win, and that seems to be uh, the prevailing position among most MMA experts that Jon Jones did win that fight, although very closely. And so anyway, there's been a lot of talk about a rematch. They wanted to do an immediate rematch. Jon Jones didn't seem like that's what he wanted to do. So Jon Jones ended up fighting Glover Teixeira, who he beat. And then uh, Alexander Gustafsson had a fight against Jimmy Manuwa, who he beat. Now, Jimmy Manuwa is kind of like not exactly a big name, but, it was a fight. And he had to get a fight in, so he took it and he won. And so it seems like we're lining up for a rematch, but now Jon Jones says, no, I don't want to fight him. I'd much rather fight DC, Daniel Cormier. Now, I'll tell you right now, Daniel Cormier is a monster. Is a beast, son. It used to be a heavyweight, crushed everyone in heavyweight that he fought, turned around in 205, and is already, now he beat a kind of a nobody for his first fight because Rashad Evans got injured. That was originally supposed to be his first fight at 205. Guy got injured, took on a nobody, destroyed him, and then had a much higher competition level against Dan Henderson and crushed Dan Henderson, right? And so it looks like uh, DC has been lobbying for a title shot for a long time now, saying, "Hey, look, I want to fight Jon Jones. I think I deserve it. Let me get in there." And it seems like Jon Jones is like, "Okay, well, all right, I want to fight DC." And a lot of MMA fans are now just completely up in arms about Jon Jones now. A lot of people didn't like him in the first place, which, if you go back and watch my last video on Jon Jones, you'll see why. But now it's just like they've completely jumped off the edge now, which ironically I think is going to elevate Jon Jones' profile. One of the weirdest things about Jon Jones is that despite his talent level and despite the fact that he's just destroyed, more or less destroyed most of the people he's fought, and despite the fact that he's kind of like a larger than life character, popularity wise and pay-per-view buy rate wise, he's really not that popular because his character, his demeanor has been mainly just kind of this weird neutral that nobody can really figure out whether he's a heel or a face, a good guy or bad guy kind of thing. But with this, he's jumped so far into the heel, into the bad guy role, that I think this is probably going to elevate his popularity to new heights, I think. And maybe that's done on purpose. Maybe he's kind of seen what he needs to do to really become popular in the sport. And if that means you got to piss a bunch of people off, then so be it. Now, his thing is this. Look, I already beat Gustafsson, right? I only have so many fights in my whole career. MMA is a rough sport. Anything can happen. I can get injured. I can get hurt. So I want to do as much as I possibly can in that time. And so since I already beat Alexander Gustafsson, I want to move on to the next challenge. And the next challenge, seemingly for me right now, is Daniel Cormier. And he's not, and a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Jon Jones is a coward. He's a coward. He's scared of Gustafsson because Gustafsson can beat him. And Jon Jones, during a now deleted Instagram post, brought up a good point. He said, I'm a coward because I want to fight this undefeated wrestler who's a beast and has just destroyed Dan Henderson, destroyed all these heavyweights, a guy who wrestled in the Olympics twice. I'm scared because I'd rather fight him than Alexander Gustafsson. That's a good point. I don't think that he's scared necessarily. And I tend to agree with him. Look, guys, it's not your career. It's his career, not yours. He should have at least a little bit of agency into who he picks. It's not like he's a nobody, right? It's not like he's some guy on the undercard, like talking about, oh, I don't want to fight him. I'd rather fight this guy. Well, dude, you're on the undercard, dude. You don't really get to pick. But when you're the champ, right, and you are a relatively popular fighter, and you're a headline fighter, I don't think it's too much to ask that you have some agency over who you fight and when you fight. I don't think that's completely outside the bounds. And the worst part is, look, I don't even like Jon Jones. I can't stand his weird, pompous, kind of strange attitude that he has. But every time I'm forced to defend him because MMA fans will just throw him under the bus anytime they get, right? And so now I got to defend Jon Jones again for no reason. I want to hate him. I want to talk bad about him. I want to see him lose. But the more hate he gets from MMA fans, the more I want to see him win. Because I'd rather see those ridiculous, like, crybaby MMA fans. I'd rather see them lose in the long run. I want to see Jon Jones win and they get pissed off. That's what I want to see now. Look, you as a fan, you're not the one in there fighting. Okay, you pay to enjoy the sport of MMA, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Now, obviously, there's fights that you'd much rather see. In the end, I'd probably much rather see Jon Jones too. I'd much rather see that, and I'd be a lot more likely to pay for that than Daniel Cormier DC now, or I'm sorry, than Jon Jones in DC. Now, granted, I pay for either one of them, but I'd rather see Jon Jones with Alexander Gustafsson. But if that doesn't happen and he's up fighting DC instead, I'll be all right with that. I'll be okay. I mean, look, if he beats DC, Alexander Gustafsson isn't going anywhere, right? So if maybe Gustafsson to get another fight in there, against somebody, probably another nobody, get another quick win, get a nice easy win, go in there against Jon Jones, and there you go. I don't have a problem with that. But I definitely don't think he's ducking him necessarily. He just wants to move on and fight somebody else. I'm sorry, guys. That's life. Okay, you can't always have what you want. Okay, you're a fan. You buy the pay-per-views. If you don't like it, you don't have to necessarily watch it. Okay, and look, if that's the case, if you want to vote with your paycheck, then go ahead and do it. If he does fight DC, don't buy it. Don't watch it. Okay, send Jon Jones a message that way. But don't sit there and light up his damn Twitter and light up his Instagram and write him dirty messages and stuff like that. You're not accomplishing anything. You're just being a hater now. You're just being a hater. Okay, hit him where it counts on the pay-per-view numbers. Don't buy the pay-per-view. But that's the best advice you can tell you. But quit hating on people who are at the pinnacle of what they do. Jon Jones is, I think, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He is the absolute pinnacle of MMA right now. Skilled damn near everywhere, right? He's got skills on top of skills. And you're sitting here wasting all your time hating on him, like, oh, you suck, and oh, you're scared, and writing him all these. It's like, come on, dude. Like, that just, to me, that just shows how weak you are and how worthless you are. It's like, here he is at the top of all top, and here you are at the bottom of all the bottom, like trying to bring him down to your level. It's like, come on, dude. Leave the guy alone, man. You don't like what he's doing, don't watch him. That's the best I can tell you. Quit getting upset over stupid stuff. Now, I guess just, who do I think will win in a fight between Jones and DC? Who do I think would win? I'm going to favor Jones. I think he's not seen the type of athlete that Daniel Cormier is, and he hasn't seen anybody with the wrestling that Daniel Cormier has. But at the same time, the reach factor is to such an extent with that fight, it's crazy. I mean, DC was not a tall heavyweight, obviously, and he's definitely not a tall 205er. He's like, 5'11", something like that, 6 feet tall. Not tall. And you saw what happened to, like, Rashad Evans. Jon Jones was able to pick him apart, and he was able to touch Rashad Evans where Rashad Evans was not able to touch him. And I see that fight going the exact same way. Maybe DC a little bit more aggressive, try to get in there and get a hard shot on Jon Jones. Jon Jones, known for having those skinny legs. If you can get a hold of one of those legs, you can, send Jon Jones into the mat. We'll see, but I don't see it happening. I think that the reason why Gustafsson gave Jon Jones such a hard time is because a lot of the physical attributes, a lot of the physical advantages that Jon Jones normally enjoys, he will not have against Gustafsson. But I still think he'd beat Gustafsson too. just using other tools, which is what we saw in the first fight. So that's what I think about a potential fight with either one of those two. But my overall message in this video is to the fans. Stop hating on Jon Jones. You're only making him better. You're only making him, do things that are going to piss you off even more. Right? It's like you're writing your own death warrant. You don't want to like Jon Jones? Well, keep fucking writing him. Keep writing him on Twitter. Keep writing him on Instagram. Because he's going to turn right around and do whatever it is that you don't want him to do. And you're going to hate him even more. And you're going to drive up his popularity. So just leave the guy alone. If you don't want to watch him fight Alexander, or if you don't want to see him fight DC, don't buy the pay-per-view. So, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got to say on that, man. So, this is Anthony, the MMA and political analyst. I'll talk to you.